Welcome to the PK Soul Show. Welcome to the PK Soul Show.
Hey everybody!
Hello.
Welcome to this edition of PK Soul Show.
Welcome back.
We're so excited about today's episode. It was a good one.
Greenleaf episode 4.
Now
we are on.
And this is season 4 as well. So the show has taken quite a turn. It's interesting
It's
to
very
see
interesting, guys.
what's going on and how things are going to pan out. So let's go on and get started. I must say, this entire episode, I was completely annoyed by Bob Whitmore. He was extremely disrespectful throughout the show, and he's really showing his true colors, how he feels about, quote unquote, the church. So the beginning scene, he's speaking with Phil, who apparently writes the speeches for Bob, and he's basically saying, well, the speech you wrote really doesn't sound like me. Now that alone,
so does that mean it doesn't sound?
I don't know if he's saying it doesn't sound European enough, or if he's saying it just doesn't sound like my voice. It doesn't sound like how I would say it, which is really disturbing.
But how he would say it is.
Well, it's disturbing that it probably is offensive, and it's disturbing that you would have this African American assistant of yours writing your speech in your own, and you're complaining about him not writing your own words, like a message at that. It's not like it's not a speech. Actually, it's not supposed to be a speech.
Yeah, I'm like, is it a sermon or a speech?
It's definitely a sermon that he's writing for him, and I'm wondering, who are you going to read this sermon to? It's just completely inappropriate. I also am just kind of wondering in the opening scene how he was adamant about expressing to Grace that there's another church in the Harmony and Hope brand, and the church is losing members, but he makes note to Grace that he really wants to fold the church into Calvary.
And this is a predominantly white church.
It's a predominantly white church,
and a predominantly black church.
And he mentions that to Grace and walks off. I think he knew it would be a problem, but it can't be a problem. So Grace just has to deal with it. Grace then mentions this to Bishop and Lady Mae to see what, I think she just wanted to kind of get a feel or a spin for how they would take it, but I think all of them are very shocked.
I think she already knew how they were going to take it.
Yeah, pretty much. I think they were, basically shocked that he would even consider this. So in this day and age, I think even with our culture today, like it's always been said, Sundays, that's the most racially divided day of the year, of the week, because it's, everyone goes to their own culture when it comes to church. Multicultural churches are growing, but of course they didn't start that way. So, especially in the South, it's still noted.
Honestly, multicultural churches didn't start because white people were going to black churches.
Correct.
They started because black people were going to churches that are considered white or predominantly white.
Correct. So they make some interesting points to Grace when she's sharing this information with Bishop and Lady Mae. They make interesting points to her that I think she takes into consideration. And Grace, this episode is kind of difficult for Grace. The situation going on in this episode is a little difficult because she does have to consider her parents and her family, and I think that's going to be her battle the entire season, since she's the only one really there who's really pivotal in the ministry. She has to consider how her parents feel, because she knows it's their church. She knows it's her home church. It's all they know. But she also has to consider the new leadership, the people that pay her bills, and they constantly remind her, we pay your checks. We are the reason why you people are still open. So she has to consider both sides, and she has to consider this as she goes into the pulpit the following Sunday. So she does have a meeting with the pastor from Fairview. I think it's Pastor Cal. She has a meeting with him about Fairview is a predominantly white church that's the church that's
Bob
folding.
Wants to fold into Calvary.
Correct. And so he definitely, the pastor of Fairview is definitely very reluctant. He's very
Did he ever say why he was reluctant?
For the same reasons. He just didn't want to say it. He honestly is reluctant as Grace, Lady Mae,
I mean, we
Bishop
know the
are.
reason, but I was wondering, did he say it?
He didn't say it, but Bob made reference to it at the end when he roasted Grace. He made reference to he thinks he can save it and he's going to give it another try. You inspired him. And I think the whole the point of her message, of course, was to inspire. Her message was very interesting. Even in the beginning of her message, it did seem like she was side with Bob, but she basically told Bob off in her message, which upset him.
Now, Grace, I feel like, Grace is more, I guess, modern when you compare her to her parents and her thinking. I honestly don't feel like Grace would have a problem herself personally with combining with a predominantly white church. I think she knows the members will take issue to it and her parents will take issue to it, but I feel like if that wasn't a factor, she would have no problem with it. Maybe she would, maybe she wouldn't. But she also knows her parents are quote unquote old school. Just like when she did tell her parents about, the idea to basically merge with Fairview, that is when Lady Mae politely told her, look, Gigi, the black church is black. And I see what she meant by that. And I don't know. I guess I don't want to say I agree with Lady Mae.
Of course, it's hard to admit that. It's going to be hard to admit that it makes sense because that's what you know, especially since the church.
That's what we know.
Right. The church grew. The church was developed for the purpose of seeking the needs of the inner city. Like, it's an urban church, and that's what he, quote unquote, was
Lady
called
Mae
to
told
do.
her. Lady Mae's reasoning was more old school. Like, if you have parents that came from Lady Mae's generation or before Lady Mae's generation,
right,
they feel like this is one of the few places for us. This is where we can go.
This is where we can speak freely. And what she meant by speak freely, I don't think it was just the conversation amongst the members or the pews. It's how you preach and teach your sheep. She knows there's a certain language that they can use freely if it's predominantly African American as opposed to a multicultural church. They also feel, which unfortunately is true in many situations, they feel that if it becomes a multicultural church, leadership will not remain them. Leadership, not them as in the Greenleaf family, but as in predominantly African American. And so then your message wouldn't be solely to African Americans. But it's amazing how even in Sunday service when Grace preached, he agreed. The pastor from Fairview, a European pastor from a European church, agreed with Grace. He basically wants to keep his own church for his own people without saying it. So it's kind of interesting to see. And I feel that Bob was very... I can't even... it's hard for me to describe
realized,
Bob.
Like, what she was doing, where the message was going, and how everyone was reacting. Because I want to say he even leaned over to Phil and told him, don't clap or something. Or he was
very upset
he
about what happened.
Clap, he just had a look on his face like, I can't believe she... And she didn't do anything wrong. She just spoke and gave a message that pretty much said what she wanted to say without saying it. She used scriptural reference to say how, rise up. If something is going on, and I feel like she was directly talking about Bob, that's when you need to rise up and, I guess, stand in your authority.
Right.
But the way she ministered, it wasn't just so obvious, but he knew what she was doing. So.
Another situation in this episode is Miss Carissa. I have no words for Carissa, y'all. She is unbelievable. Carissa has pressured Jacob yet again. She's still pressuring Jacob to sell the land. She notices in this episode, she discovers that the land is being sold basically as a subsidiary of Harmony and Hope. And instead of coming out and sharing that information with her husband, she literally keeps it to herself, signs the papers with her husband, knowing what she's doing. And
he thinks he's just selling to someone,
a random developer.
He has no idea.
He has no clue that the developer is bagged by Harmony and Hope. And I cannot wait till it comes out.
I mean, even when it comes out, she's going to pretend like she didn't know.
I feel like she's not. She's going to... Carissa is so... stupidly bold, she's going to protect her whole stance on we need our own independence. We need to get away from your family, even if it means going through Harmony and Hope. We need to make sure that we have, especially with the arguments she's been having with Lady May, she's going to use this as solid reasoning for selling the land anyway, knowing that Harmony and Hope clearly are backing this venture for whoever this developer is. I just think it's so disrespectful. I feel, even though Jacob is not my favorite person on the show, I feel bad for what his wife is doing to him. It's unnecessary.
I like Jacob now. I like him now.
Well, he seems to have a better. To me, he has a better sense of right and wrong. It seems like he's really trying to develop integrity.
Because he's actually trying.
He's definitely trying this season. And I feel like he's still so sensitive.
How old is Jacob?
I don't know. I have no clue.
I wish we knew the ages of these characters. I mean, just to see, like, how old.
I definitely think Jacob is younger than Grace.
Do right.
I think he's younger than Grace.
We know their order.
Grace,
then Jacob, then Charity, but we don't know, like, ages. I mean, not that you would know the ages of your characters, but I'm just saying, it makes me wonder, like...
It definitely seems like 30 to 50, like, within that...
That's a huge gap.
Well, all three of them.
An obvious gap. We know he's not 60, and we know he's not 20. What?
Well, I'm thinking he's probably in his 40s.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think she's in...
And it's making me wonder,
in her late 30s.
Typical African-American male. You wait till you 40 to say you want to do right?
Well, you're headed into midlife. You're headed into, I've been here 40 years.
Okay, never mind. I'm no longer a fan of Jacob.
I know.
He should have done that years ago. I mean, you've only been married long enough to have Zora.
Who's 20. So you definitely are. So who's at least 18. So you definitely... Anyway,
okay,
we really do digress. But anyway, another interesting thing was Sophia.
Sophia came home, didn't tell anyone she was coming home.
And Lady Grace, I think, is going to get it out of her. Oh goodness. Lady May is going to get it out of her. I think Lady May
is definitely going to get it out of her.
As to why she came home. Snuck home at that. And is sneaking right back out. But
she wanted to spend time with her newfound brother.
Yes. Did we mention that the brother's in Memphis? Grace has moved him home, got him an apartment, got him set up right nice.
But he has to remain a secret. And I feel like that's something that definitely bothers him, and it bothers Sophia. Like, what are you still protecting? What did she say she was protecting?
Now, she had a good point as to why she's trying to protect. She's saying that she is waiting to get the church back. That was her reasoning.
Because she know how long that's going to be. That's an excuse.
Yeah, it is an excuse, but it's a logical excuse.
I mean, it's a logical excuse.
Yeah, considering that she knows
probably won't be preaching.
And now that Bob is on her case about her messages, she knows she has to wait. She has to wait. That Bob needs nothing else. Not to mention, now she realizes something happened with her sister. For her sister to call Noah.
Charity was so low down on this episode. Yeah. She decided she was going to call Noah and leave him a voicemail at the home that he lives at with his wife, who we know does not care for Grace.
Just terrible.
And she knew she was wrong. Even her facial expressions when she did it. She paused on the voicemail and still went through. Oh, hi, Noah. I was just calling. I was just trying to see why you would come on to Calvary and not speak, or something. She said basically like, you
come by the church.
You would come by the church and not speak. How dare you? Like, she said it laughingly, but we know what she was doing. She knows 10 times out of 10 he did not tell his wife he has been to Memphis to Calvary to see Grace.
Yeah.
So she set that up. We'll see at the end what's going to happen with that.
Well, he got kicked out.
Oh, yeah.
He got
kicked
kicked
out
out.
Of this episode.
And
that his wife put him out. And so I guess he's like, well, I'm already put out. I may as well go on back to Memphis and get to know my son.
Which is another issue Grace is going to have.
Yeah.
So,
the walls are closing in on Grace.
Took a bad turn for Grace this episode. But
but we were on Sophia getting to know.
Yeah, I do feel bad for Sophia and what Grace is putting her through.
Especially since that bad Zora.
Oh my goodness.
That terrible Zora.
I really feel like she's going to tell Zora. She's going to end up telling.
I thought she was going to tell Zora in that moment.
No, I think she'll either call or she's gonna. I really think she's gonna tell Zora. We'll see. I think she's gonna tell.
I think she would have told. I think she should have told Zora, because who would Zora tell? She don't really talk to her mom like that.
Well, she's definitely trying to keep her word to her mom, which is what she's getting on her mom case about. Like, I'm gonna keep it honest, and you need to be honest, but she won't. So
it just sucks because now she looks like a little liar to Zora.
Yeah.
Like, you told me you were going to see your boyfriend, but you weren't there. Where were you?
And you smell like beer. I mean, she just knew something was up. So
it was bad.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the coming episodes. I definitely, I think the last thing that was kind of important on this episode, I do wonder how it's going to pan out between Lady Mae and Carissa. Lady Mae, being the nice,
when Lady
nasty,
Mae finds out about that land,
I can't understand. She's gonna flip. She's
definitely gonna light into Carissa. Yeah. And if Carissa tries to say she didn't know, Lady Mae is gonna call her on it and say she did. But you're right, Carissa probably will own up to knowing that Calvary was. I mean that Harmony and Hope was behind the land purchase. She might own up to it.
Well, we will see in the coming weeks.
I will say this: we did not touch on this, but an interesting point in this episode that I'm glad the writers touched on. Just when Grace had that conversation with Lady Mae and the bishop, and she was telling them about the plans to fold the church with Fairview, or to fold Fairview into Calvary, and the bishop made a point that there really hasn't been a truly multiracial mega church with a black pastor. Now, of course, there are some churches that have a black pastor that has a diverse congregation. It's not just black, it's not white, but that doesn't happen often. And I feel like the main point he was making was, now we may have touched on that, was that usually when there is a diverse church, it's because black people or people that are not white have gone to the church that was predominantly
Yes, we did
white.
Touch on that, but we also know it's going to be different for...
we talked about the leadership, how the leadership would look.
Right, but it's going to be different for how he perceives it as opposed to how anyone else would perceive it, because he founded Calvary.
That's what it is.
The issue is going to be he founded a black church for black people, and if it becomes predominantly, or if it becomes multicultural to the point where they're bringing on multicultural leadership, and then multicultural leadership become the true leaders, that's going to be very offensive to a Southern black pastor who started a successful church. Not just you have a church, but you have a successful church. And they've mentioned in past episodes they see upward 4,000 people a week. Fairview,
I don't remember them saying 4,000.
I do remember
4,000.
They see up to 4,000 a week. He mentioned that maybe in season 1 or 2. But he's also looking at, and I'm thinking about Bob mentioning to Grace that Fairview used to see up to 1,500 a Sunday, and now or a week, and now they're down to 250. Even astronomically, from 4,000 to 1,500, even in the peak of Fairview, it's not the same peak of Calvary. So it's just going to be offensive all around to bring in a multicultural feel to what you started and successfully ran.
Multicultural.
I'm saying multicultural to be nice, but we know black white, so you're gonna miss black.
It would be black.
A black congregation with a white congregation.
They're not making it look good for their argument that the fold with Fairview needs to happen with that terrible song.
Oh, Jesus!
If the church is gonna be, if you want the church to be multicultural or whatever, I guess for a lack of better terms, you want it to be even. You want to have the flow of the service not be too black, not be too white. Why do you have this song and you see everybody's expression? Like, you should have remixed that song a little bit to where...
I really thought she was going to remix it. Then she tried to bring in her runs. She tried to put the runs in the voice, and it just was like...
She tried to put runs in this slow, horrible song. And
poor
then...
Charity. Poor Charity.
I feel like the young lady that was singing with Joy, the white lady. I mean... Charity. I always call her her real name. the white lady that was singing along with Charity, and how she kept trying to hug her and pat on her. Like, why are you trying to hug?
I almost felt like she was trying to reel her in. Like, okay,
like
let's come
feel
back.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, this congregation isn't liking this. Maybe we can. No, y'all touching and hugging and leaning side to side isn't gonna make them feel like.
Was that a banjo?
What's a banjo? What is a banjo?
When the guy. Because when they said in the choir stand, and she was in the middle mad, I was like, is that a banjo right here? So I was just confused.
But anyway, I just feel like even that display, like for the writers to put that in there, it just goes to show you.
It really shows you that Bob knows nothing about church and he doesn't care.
You don't know anything about quote unquote the black church, and you keep trying.
You don't even know about multicultural. Like you're attempting to say this is multicultural. You're
attempting to force your cultural experience in a church on this church.
Yes.
And you need to mix it up a little bit if you're going to do that. That's not fair to them.
That's true.
And you could tell that they knew it wasn't fair by the appearance of the audience. They were just really
they were disgusted
over it.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah.
Well, this was a very interesting episode. We'll see what happens. Carissa has signed the papers. We'll see what turns out with that. Sophia is pissed at her mother. We'll see how that pans out.
Noah is headed to Memphis.
Noah is coming to Memphis thanks to annoying Charity. We'll see how that pans out. So we definitely will have an interesting conversation next week about the follow-up episode. And
don't forget to send us your thoughts. You can comment on our post on Instagram and let us know how you felt, or on Facebook at the PK Social.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Follow us.
I forgot about Twitter. Sorry.
Follow us, guys. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
We won't see you, but yeah, next week.
Okay.
Great.